Hey y'all, welcome back to Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel, Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. I'm Melissa, glad that you're here. It's January 21st, 2024, and in this video, we're talking about chicken eggs. We're not going to be out in the chicken buildings, we're just going to be right here in the kitchen and tell you about what we do with our eggs after we've gathered them and collected them, and we get them inside and go through kind of a process of documenting them, cleaning them up, taking a close look at them, and getting them packed up and ready for customers. And some of them don't make it into the dozens that will go out to customers. So in this video, we'll show you how we document what we have collected so that we have some data to look back on for reference and make decisions with for our flock. And also going to tell you and show you examples of what goes into the dozens that we're selling and what gets pulled out, and tell you what happens to the ones that don't make it to customers. So even as small scale as our egg production operation is, we like to implement some quality control measures, and we like to have somewhat of a consistent expectation that our customers can have for the eggs that they're going to get from us. So that's why we try to take these steps to do that. So thanks for joining us. Hope you'll hang in here with us, and it's going to be interesting to see some of the eggs that don't make it into the customers' dozens. So welcome back. Here we have the eggs that we're going to take a look at. Before we do that, let's take a look at a really simple document that we use to help us keep track of how many eggs we've collected, how many eggs we've sold, and how many eggs didn't make it to the for sale dozens and why. So we try to document all that. It just gives us a point of reference to look back at. So these calendars are both for January of 2024. During December of 2023, we were pretty consistently getting about 30 eggs daily from a flock of 34 layers. Most of those layers are Isa Browns, and most of them are about 1.5 years old. There's maybe 10 of them that are other breeds and a little bit younger. So, and then we've got 2 that are older, and one of them is a Lavender Orpington and one of them is an Americana. So we'll actually be able to show you probably which eggs are coming from those hens. So I guess actually about half and half. About half is the Isa Browns and half is other breeds. And we do actually have a production red flock of pullets that we are getting closer to being egg layers, and so they'll be joining the flock soon. And then so with having these numbers, this really helps us because we'll actually be planning for replacement hens as 2024 goes on, and basically by the end of the year we'll want to have pretty much a whole new set of hens, maybe about 50 hens in egg production for us for our small farm operation. So with this set of calendars, this top one, what we're keeping track of is eggs collected for January of 2024, and I'll show you kind of what we're documenting here. So when you look at the number that ends up highlighted, and there's a large number and a small number, what we're keeping track of there is the large number is how many eggs from that day made it into dozens for customers. And if there's a small number, that's how many eggs were laid that day that were called out and did not make it into the customers' dozens. So some days, you know, we're all good. Like this day on January 2nd, there was 29 collected, no calls, none of them were rejected for the customers' dozens. So we had 29 collected and 29 that made it as usable eggs for us to sell that day. So that's what's there. So as the day goes on, you know, usually, actually what we usually do is we have an egg flat. I should have had one of those out, but we have an egg flat that'll hold 30 eggs at a time. And so as we're bringing eggs in, we'll just put the eggs into an egg flat, and then at the end of the day, I can easily tell how many eggs we have. So that's usually what gets put here, but sometimes, like if someone's just been in the hen house and picked up, oh, we saw an extra one in the nest box, you know, then we can just add it in. But at any rate, we keep track of what we've gathered. And then after we've kind of inspected them, And if any have had to come out, you know, we'll make a note there of why they had to come out, and I'll go through some of those. And then we'll end up putting the final number there at the end of the day or the following morning. So some of the reasons some have come out, you can see like on the 3rd and the 4th, we had several that were too big. And so you're probably thinking, why would you disqualify an egg for being too big? Well, so this is kind of an example of what we're talking about here. So like that one was too big to put in the dozens that we'll sell. And this one's a pretty standard size that would go in the dozens we sell. So you can tell there's a big difference there. The fact is my egg cartons won't close on this one. And so that's why they get pulled out of the dozens that we sell. It's a perfectly good egg. It'll be a great eating egg. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But I couldn't close the carton on it, so I opt not to sell it out to customers. Occasionally, see if we can find, okay, so on January 11th, if y'all can see January 11th, it has, well, I'm trying to point to it right here. So we had actually collected 26, 25 made it into customers' dozens. The one that was a call is because it was tiny. I can show you that one. Look at that. So like there's, we'll put that one there again. There's like a regular size compared to this one. And then we had another tiny one another day. It's even tinier. So obviously we're not going to put those in customers' dozens. I don't know actually if they'll even be usable or not. I'm not sure what's going to be in there. So those look like, we know which hens lay those because we know who lays the blue egg and who lays the green egg. And actually this hen that lays the blue egg had been in molt and was coming out of molt. And this was when she was coming out of molt. So then now she's back to, this is her egg also. So now she's back to regular sized eggs. So, and then occasionally, you know, we'll have different reasons. Like, I'm just reading through some starting on the 14th here. Cracked ones, too big, splotchy, one was teeny, all good, all good. One cracked and one odd shaped. And so, okay, I can show you a couple of those. So like this one was cracked. So I'll show you the crack here in a moment. But this is a nice looking egg, right? So the crack is right there. If y'all can see it. So just barely, right? And you even have to sometimes look really close. Okay, this was one that was just like, it's just like a splotchy bloom. And I can't, that's been cleaned. So I can't make that any nicer looking in appearance. It was just a splotchy bloom. This was, this one, yeah. This was one of the odd shaped ones. See how it's more torpedo shaped than, like, you know, egg shaped. And sometimes we'll let those go out. But this one also, you're not going to be able to see it on camera. It has a really funny pinch on a seam here. So, that can be, when they have a really funny pinch on a seam, like, that can be an egg that isn't going to be as sturdy right there. Same with this one. It has some funny pinching and seaming on it. So, and it's kind of that torpedo shape. So that would generally disqualify them. Now, this one is not cracked, but you can see these funny lines here. You usually only get those when there is a fine crack in the shell. And so the thing about these cracks, though, I showed you all three of these, a little bit of a crack, but that's just affecting the shell, which is the outer membrane. There's an inner membrane in the egg, and the inner membrane is not compromised at all. So these eggs would have come out from, these would probably be the ones that would have been cold, like from this week. So when we would bring our eggs in from collecting them, we'll wash them, and then we will inspect them, and we'll put the ones we're going to send out to customers for subscriptions or on-demand orders into cartons. And then the other ones I'll just put in a carton for us, and we have designated places in the fridge for them. So what are we going to do with these culls? We're going to use these for household use because these are still really good eggs. There's nothing wrong with them, but we prefer to have a little more uniform look to the size shape that we send out. And so ours are ungraded, which means, you know, they're not like large, extra large. That's the size. Ours aren't sized. They're considered mixed size, and ours aren't graded. So like, they're not like grade A eggs like you find in the store necessarily. We just don't grade them. So anyway, but that's kind of a behind the scenes look of what we document, and what happens when we sometimes disqualify an egg from sales. God bless y'all. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.